Hello and welcome back to a random introvert online. Today we will talk about types of Moroccan women. Like every other country, women come with various attributes, personality types, and so on. So there are other levels on which these women are very different, and that's what we will be talking about. We will start from village girls to city girls because with village girls they are way more simpler than city girls, less complicated and less categories. I think they can be best described as reserved, shy, gullible, and not very educated. Very homey type of woman, multi-material, can cook from a very early age and can take a household responsibility by the age of 11. Education among these women is very low. Like some of them would just not leave school, but their parents would make them leave school at the age of or at preschool because, well, women's place is not at school, is at home, doing home things, that's gonna take care of the house. If they're lucky and had the opportunity, they will study until, let's say, middle school or high school, but by the age of 16 or 18 they're already engaged to be married, so they're not usually out there that much. Village girls think that city girls are shameless, vulgar, too masculine, and don't respect men. However, once they get divorced and start living in a terrible situation because of their undeveloped personality and lack of education, then they become really jealous from city girls because, well, their job sucked and they don't have their personality to stand up to a man. When it comes to girls that live in small towns, there's usually there are two main categories to them. The first is a girl who has a rural background, and the second is a girl who has a background from the city. So I guess you can tell the difference there. When it comes to the girl that has a rural background, her parents probably don't have much of an education. They don't really value women being educated much. That means nothing to them. Can she cook and can she raise kids? We're talking. Girls for them need to be properly dressed, they need to cover their hair from a young age, don't talk to boys, no cell phone, no makeup, know a lot of things. But when it comes to girls from parents who came from the city and moved to the small town, those girls have it a bit more easier, I would say. There aren't as many rules for them as there would be with our first example. Their parents are probably educated, they have some level of education, they've seen what it's like to be educated and the opportunities that education gives you and opens for you, because, well, they come from a city, and in the city, well, you meet people from all walks of life, and usually the people that have it better are very well educated. So the girl from the rural, a girl whose parents come from a village, usually every summer goes back to the village, and they don't really get enough exposure to other places, other ways of living. What their little bubble says is all they know. As from girls who do go to other cities and, well, they explore and see for themselves, they know, for example, money can buy happiness, and that morality in life isn't everything, and that things like education and being very aspirational are very important and valuable. As with the girls who's let's call them the modern girls, well, they usually do all types of various activities, like, for example, basketball. They have more guy friends, they have a cell phone from an earlier age, their dress code is a bit of an Moroccan minded, jeans, that type of things. As for our first example, well, even if they did wear jeans, they have to wear something that's very long, so it's like knee length, not to show any curves or any bust. You have to wear something that's very wide. Some girls tend to break from this, let's call it coding, and once they reach university. And so university is usually in a big city, and when you send a girl from a small town to a big city, well, her horizon starts to open and she knows she has options and she knows what life has to give. I know you would say television and cell phones have made all these things closer to us, but the thing is, With social media, we are given a reality that's not always ours, because we do follow all these foreign people that don't really represent what's in reality and what's in real life. And also with Moroccans, they also present a lifestyle that's not always theirs, because, well, in Instagram we only show the highlights of our lives. It's not really our daily life. And so going to the city and experiencing it for yourself gives you the awareness and the knowledge to whether you do want that as a lifestyle or no. Girls that do have educated parents don't really care much about what people say and what society has to say, because the thing is, in small cities, it's still the generation, the older generation ruling. It's still the tradition and the morality and the religion who will govern how most of the people, behave and act. Because if I may say this, there are more traditional people in Morocco than there are modern people. Like, it's still developing, it's still changing. So there's of course gonna be that emphasis, and probably by the age of 17 those girls have already had like a boyfriend or two for a few years, because this generation is a little different now from when I was that age. City girls, on the other hand, can encompass all of the above. Their parents may or may not be educated, and that will definitely reflect on their morals and dress code and how religious they are. However, city girls are tougher than rural girls and small town girls, because, well, they've been through it. And when you live in a city, you're gonna meet a scammer or two definitely somewhere. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter who, you're gonna meet one, and those experiences really develop you to have an eye to see those people. But girls that are guarded and that are always shut from the outer world don't really have that experience, and so they're way more gullible and really easier to take advantage of. And sometimes men would say things like, oh, but I did get a girl from the village and she wasn't a virgin. Well, she got bamboozled, she was gullible, and someone tricked her. Someone convinced her, yes, I will marry you, but first I need to try. They try and they leave, and well, then she's not a virgin. And you think that, oh no, she's been doing and doing. No, she's just stupid. City girls' standards of life are usually really, really high. She's just not gonna marry any man. Like, he has to have his own place in his car and this and this and that, because in the city you see what life has to offer. All the luxurious shops and amazing furniture and people living their best life, driving really nice cars and all these things. Well, you want some of that for yourself, and that's why you're not always gonna hope a man's gonna do it for you, because once you're educated you can have a career of your own, but still you're not gonna want someone who's beneath that level of living, someone who you're gonna give a spoon and fork to and they're gonna say, no, I would rather eat with my hands. Because we have all these type of cultures in this country, so they don't really tend to mix, because, well, there's no mixing them. They're like oil and water. You can either go up, but it's really hard to come down from them though. A city girl's education can be from high school to a doctorate. Yeah, they're pretty well educated, way better than the first two example, which is town girl and village girl. They are very career driven, but it really depends. Like, once you meet someone who you really love and they say, well, you don't have to work if you don't want to, they have the option then whether they want to or no. Like I always say in my videos, working is optional. However, you do see the tendency between girls at a office job, for example, to talk about their husbands and children. And so it creates this competition among girls, who gets married first, who has the best wedding and all these type of things. And since they work well, they can afford the best. Because of them having money and power, things like, let's say for example, staying a virgin, dressing modestly, having high morality, are not really priorities to these women, because they have bought their freedom basically. And the thing is that these rules only apply to you once you always socialize with people that do have that mentality. But in the office, people are very open-minded and come from all sorts of different backgrounds. And well, the office environment tends to be more open and, you know, mixed, diverse in all these things. So it's easier to go towards what's modern than sticking to what's original. You know, it's moral and modest. That's not going to be the case. You're supposed to wear a suit, and let me tell you, those pants are very flattering. So they're not really modest. And when it comes to the weekends for working women, well, they're not gonna go to a mosque or something. Nope, they're gonna go somewhere fun, and you bet it's gonna be mixed. Girls, guys, everything, nightclub, this and that. It's gonna be fun, lit, and someone's gonna get drunk and vomit somewhere. So, yep, this is what you expect when you date someone that's working. They know how life works. So in all of these scenarios, what's your wifey material? Because in Morocco, men would definitely go with number 1 and number 2. Number 3, well, if they work together, then probably, but not in all cases. There's the situation of men being intimidated by women who make more than them, and women having high expectations. They don't really appreciate that. Also, women that have spent all their life studying are not really good cooks, good this and that. They have higher aspiration than the kitchen. However, when it comes to uneducated women, they don't really, you can't have an educated conversation with them. So let's say, hey, I read a theory about a black hole the other day and I want to discuss it with my wife. Well, you can't. She doesn't even know what that is. You're just gonna have to start explaining, well, there's a hole in space. What's space? It's outside, you know, the planet. What's a planet? And so this is the problem with these women, is that they don't know shit. So, yep, but the food's gonna be good. That's what you want. And they're not gonna be street smart, so they're gonna get scammed over and over and over. And sometimes there's even this case where they do learn how to navigate life, however, they turn on you. Those are the easiest women to turn on you, the ones who came from nothing. However, the ones that did come from something, well, not really, because they made a good choice from the beginning, and they had the choice from the beginning to choose their partner and who they're going to be with. As for the village girls and town girls, well, they're always hidden by their parents and brothers. It's like from a house to a house. So you are born in your father's house and you are sent to your husband's house. Unless you divorce, then you don't really get that much freedom to do what you want with your life. It's not always the case. I'm not saying this is 100%, you know, reality, but it's the majority. There's always little exceptions to everything. But when it comes to city girls, no, that's not the case. They can navigate bars, they can navigate markets, they can travel even abroad if they want, they can have sleepovers and all these really cool things. Even when it comes to having a boyfriend, of course they can have one or even two if you live in a massive city. And let's say one of your boyfriends lives to the north and the other one lives to the east, who's gonna know? And your brothers, they're also busy doing their own thing, because well, in the city there's actually jobs. Meanwhile, in rural areas there's not much to do, so the men just spend most of their time doing nothing. You can meet city girls in universities, offices, call centers, shops, markets, doing various type of activities. As for village girls, I really don't know what to tell you, because you have to go to a village and then you either the family welcomes you or something like that. Otherwise, you don't really have many options to find them in places like markets and, you know, places where people actually go to exist. Well, I'm wrapping up this video here. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it was educational. I hope it was fun, and you guys tell me what you think, and yeah, see you in the next video.